All right, so today we're going deep on Old Monk Rum.
Fascinating story behind this one.
Yeah, an absolute legend in India, really.
More than just a drink, for sure.
It's a cultural icon. We're going to take a look at the history and that irresistible flavor
Yeah.
and just why it sparks such emotion.
Yeah, from students all the way up to the ultra-rich. It's interesting how it bridges those social strata.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, to kick things off, where does this story even begin?
Believe it or not, with a Scotsman.
Oh,
Yeah, Edward Dyer, way back in 1855. He set up shop in Kasauli.
what was he doing in India?
Well, he set up a brewery to supply beer to the British troops.
A brewery. Interesting, I wouldn't have asked that for a rum.
Yeah, not a distillery, which is kind of interesting, but that brewery eventually morphed into Mohan Meakin.
Which is, of course, the maker of Old Monk.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the foundation, but how did they get from brewing beer to crafting this beloved rum?
That's where Vedratan Mohan comes in. He was the managing director of Mohan Meakin back in the 1960s. And he is actually the one credited with creating Old Monk.
The mastermind behind it all.
Yeah.
So what was his inspiration?
Well, the story goes that he was pretty captivated by the Benedictine monks and their peaceful lifestyle and their tradition of producing these wonderful liqueurs.
Uh-huh.
Some even say that he kind of incorporated certain aspects of the Benedictine monks' production techniques into Old Monk's recipe.
So the name Old Monk, it's not just a random catchy name, it has like a deeper connection.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Okay, so before Old Monk, didn't Mohan Meakin already have that rum called Hercules?
You're right.
The one that was made just for the armed forces?
You're absolutely right. But a lot of people who tried both considered Old Monk superior in taste.
Interesting.
And so it just very quickly became a lot more popular.
So what was it about that flavor? What really captured everyone's, I guess, hearts or taste buds?
Well, Old Monk stands out because of its deep, dark color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that really distinct vanilla flavor.
Yeah, can't miss that.
And that's a result of the unique aging process, of course. And we can't forget that it is 42.8% alcohol,
Oh, yeah.
which gives it that nice little warm feeling.
I've always found so fascinating is that Old Monk wasn't some big marketing thing.
Right.
It was all organic, right?
Totally.
Wary mouth.
Word of mouth and just genuine customer loyalty.
People just genuinely loved it, told their friends.
Exactly. People just loved it and then told their friends about it. And at its peak, Old Monk was selling something like 8 million bottles a year,
Wow.
which actually made it one of the top-selling dark rums globally.
To reach that level of success just from people talking about it, that's incredibly rare.
Yeah, it really speaks to that connection that people felt.
Yeah, yeah. Now, we do have to address the elephant in the room. Sales have declined.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's down to about a quarter of what it once was.
About that, yeah.
And I remember all those rumors flying around about it being discontinued,
Oh, yeah.
and everyone just panicked.
Everyone was really worried about it.
Thank goodness Mohan Meakin was there to reassure everyone that, no, Old Monk is here to stay.
They were very clear about that.
Good. I mean, a brand this beloved deserves a comeback, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Speaking of comebacks, I've heard about all these different varieties of Old Monk, not just the classic bottle we know and love.
The classic 7-year aged XXX rum is obviously the most popular, but you do also have the Supreme and Gold Reserve,
Ooh, fancy.
both aged for 12 years and blended with some really, really mature spirits.
So they're offering like a different, more refined kind of experience, huh?
Exactly, exactly. And the Supreme actually comes in a bottle that's shaped like a standing monk,
Seriously?
and the cap is the top of the monk's head.
Oh, wow.
So very cool.
They really put some thought into that.
Absolutely.
What other hidden gems are out there? What else do we got?
Well, there's the Deluxe XXX rum, a white rum, a coffee rum.
Okay.
And for the real connoisseurs, they actually have a limited edition called Legend.
And then if you're feeling adventurous, there's the Connoisseur Collection.
Yeah.
And that's all these flavored rums.
Weird rums, like what?
Like orange, lemon, apple, even cola and cranberry.
Wow. A whole family of Old Monk. I had no idea. But here's something else that I think is interesting. We think of Old Monk as this Indian rum,
Right.
but it's actually available all over the world.
It really is, yeah.
It's sold in Russia, the US, the UK, Japan, Australia.
It's everywhere.
Really interesting how the appeal kind of goes beyond just borders and cultures.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the taste and all these varieties, but what is it about this rum that makes it so special, especially in India?
Yeah, it's more than just the history and the flavors,
Yeah.
you know.
There's something deeper there.
It's almost like it's an emotion.
It really is, and that's what we're going to dive into.
It is. We've only just scratched the surface.
Absolutely.
There's a whole world of cultural significance to unpack here.
Yeah, there really is.
And it's what makes this whole thing so captivating.
Definitely. You know, it's fascinating how Old Monk has that global recognition.
It does.
But at the same time, it's retained such a strong cultural identity in India.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were just talking about how its popularity really goes way beyond just the taste or all those different varieties. What is it about this particular rum that makes people so loyal to it and those really powerful feelings of nostalgia, especially in India,
Yeah. Well, I think if you consider the historical context, Old Monk really came into its own right after India gained independence.
Okay, interesting.
It was a period of transformation, a new era for the nation, really.
So you're saying Old Monk is kind of woven into this feeling of like national identity and pride.
In a way, yes. It was a homegrown product. It quickly...
which is matured here, is used in our brands like Solent Gold Single Malt Whiskey, Solent Number 1 and Solent Black Full-Bodied Malt Whiskey, and Black Knight Whiskey. And our globally known product known as Old Monk. It is also blended here in the Solent District.